hear me again? Yeah? Okay, that's good. So let's start. Women Who Code Mentorship Program 2.0. So we launched first season recently in this year. We started in February, and we have good and great results. And some highlights. More than 100 people interested in the program. That's amazing. Thank you so much that you are interested. We did something around 50 matches. Wow. And we have most of feedback of the program strongly positive or just positive. I think that's really great. So we also heard some your questions like, okay, I applied 2 months ago and I still don't have any updates. Where is my mentor? And also some mentors asked us, okay, what should I do with my mentee? And in this season, we decided, first of all, we built strong time frame. So we say to mentees that you have small time to apply. And then we also wait for some time for mentors. And then we know that, okay, now it's the end for applications. And we can match you. And if we didn't find any mentors, so you shouldn't wait for 2 months. We are going to give you this information. Also, after we matched everybody, we can start to help you. We can start some events and, for example, people at the same area and expertise, we can match you just for meeting other participants. And also we can send you some guides, some tips how to build your mentorship program, how to mentor your mentee. So yeah, guidance, timeframes, everything on us. About time frame, Call for Mentee will be open for 2 weeks. So it's the most important part. You have only 2 weeks to apply as a mentee. And for mentors, we will try to find all mentors in 1 month. At the end of the month, we say, okay, it's the end. And if we didn't find somebody, we say, okay, maybe next time. But we will try to organize study groups if we have several people, several persons with the same interests. And it will help us and it will help you. Well, you have only 2 weeks. And if you are still not sure, here is some motivation for you to apply as a mentee. But first of all, global surveys showing that it really helped to build career. And in our first season, we proved it. We have a lot of positive feedback about career improvements. Higher salaries. So if you have mentor build your confidence, and the mentor can say, oh, come on, you should do better. It's really, you just go and get this opportunity. So your salary could be higher just because you didn't know that you can obtain this salary. Okay. Great sense of personal well-being. What does it mean? Especially if you go to a new job, you ask yourself always, am I good enough? Am I good enough? Did I enough for today, for this week, for this month? And if you have mentor, it really helps you to understand that, okay, you are enough. Basically, it really helps your well-being because you can do not end with anxiety nights and thinking, oh, maybe I should do more or something else. It's an example. For mentors, It's a great expansion of your network. The most cool thing that I can imagine, you can find cool teammate, yeah, or you can even refer somebody in your company and get bonus for your referral, or you just help other people to find new job and build network like this, or you can find new communities, or you can find new tools. So network expansion is cool instrument to be in this IT area. Next thing, extension of impact. So just imagine you have mentee, then you understand that you can organize a group of mentee, study group, and now you impact on several people. And then you understand that you can build your own course on these terms, yeah? And now you can scale your expansion more. It's just example. You can find your way how you can impact more. But our mentorship program definitely first step to start. Leadership skills. When you organize even only one mentee, you start to track progress and it's like your own project. And it's already a place where you can practice your leadership skills. If you have a group of mentee, it's even more, yeah? And also, being mentor is really good for confidence, for self-confidence and your self-confidence overall improve your mental health. So we really need mentors and more mentors. And I want to say, our mentee, you get a mentor. You all get a mentor. So please apply to our program as a mentor. And it's never early to be a mentor. Now, some more things about application. You should apply to be a mentee if you want to start a new career, if you want to find a better job, if you want to get a promotion, if you want to become a technical lead or product lead and you don't want even where to start, you can apply as a mentee. Or you just want to support on your way. For example, you can even need only 1-2 hours to understand your direction in your role. And this all is good to be a mentee here. You should apply mentor if you have some good experience, even if you have cool study projects and you understand that, okay, I have some tips and tricks that help me to deliver this study project. It's already enough to apply as a mentor. You have expertise in your area. You contributed to community, and again, you have some leadership experience or something else. And you already share your experience and you want to get, even if you want to learn something new from your mentee, like you guide somebody, but also they can give you some hints what they are doing right now. For example, students, how they are learning right now. Yeah, it's all reason to be mentor. Again, it's never early to start mentoring. Some examples of expertise. So we are looking for backend, frontend, Android, iOS, data science, machine learning, everything in IT. Also managers, leads, technical product owners, and also network engineering, site reliability engineering, everything that we can find here. Expertise in languages. We can help to learn and the mentor to learn or learn new language here. So all popular languages. So what we expect from you if you apply? First of all, as a mentor and mentee, you clearly define your goals. Then you understand your time. You ready to investigate your time. invest your time. You're ready to provide and receive feedback. And you're ready to be engaged with everything that you are doing. And again, some steps that we are doing here. Sign up for mentors for 1 month. Apply as a mentor, and we are looking for mentors for 1 month. Mentees have only 2 weeks. And we also need sometimes on matching process. And yeah, and then we expect you engagement for at least until March. But you can do 2 or 3 sessions, or even 1 session just to give your mentee some understanding about your job, about your career. It also could be enough. So you just have 1-2 sessions, then you send us, okay, we finished our program. And in this case, you can finish already in December, and that's really good. And then you can pick up as a mentee, for example, or you can just have a Christmas and etc. It's all up to you. And subtips. So again, ask goals, agree on goals, try to track your progress. You can use spreadsheets. At least I use spreadsheets, and I did some notes on every session, what we did, what we achieved, what we want to do next. You can use Trello or some other organization tools, but it's really important if you can track your progress with your mentee. And also join us in Slack space, and we are going to create a new Slack space where we can put some tips, some guidance again. So we are going to help you here. Yeah, and this is last picture. That feeling you get after meeting with your mentor or mentee. Thank you so much.
Okay, I think that's where I take over. Yeah, thank you very much, Irina.
I pass my imaginary microphone to Mary.
Yeah. Thank you very much. Thank you, Irina and Helen. My name is Mary Goodman. I'm a software engineer at WWCode, and I'll be moderating the panel today. Super excited. So our topic is mentorship and how to start. And we have great experts here. All of them were mentors. Some of them were also mentees at some point. And we will have a conversation on the mentorship. So if you have any questions, by the way, please write them in the chat, and we will have a Q&A session at the end. Yeah, I guess welcome to the panel discussion. And so let's start with a short introduction from our mentors. Let's start maybe with Vanessa. If you can tell us a bit about yourself and your mentorship experience.
Of course. So hi, everyone. Very nice to meet you all. So my name is Vanessa Yiu. I work at Goldman Sachs. I have kind of like 18 years of experience in industry doing a variety of stuff. So, you know, systems engineering in kind of like as a UNIX SRE, work some time in the storage team. And given, you know, I work in a financial institution, spent some time running like the electronic trading platforms. More recently in SRE, I currently head up enterprise architecture and also platform risk management here at Goldman. I also look after the Women in Engineering network here in the region, and I'm the co-chair of SREcon for USENIX this year. So very nice to meet you all. And I have been both a mentor and a mentee for a long time, so I look forward to discussing mentorship with you.
Amazing, amazing. Thank you very much. Let's continue with Andrew.
Hi, I'm Andrew King. I've got about 30 years IT experience. Was a colleague of Vanessa twice, 2 times through Goldman Sachs. I've also been at Facebook. Now, most recently, I'm at a card payment firm as an SRE. So yeah, I've really love mentoring. I was in the Women Who Code mentoring session last time. Had a great time, learned a lot as a mentor, which is great. I encourage everybody to sign up. So yeah, that's me.
Amazing. Thank you very much. Let's continue with Daria.
Hi, I'm Daria, also Dasha, currently a system analysis student at Kyiv Polytechnic University. A bit about myself. I usually order a cappuccino. In my speakers, rock and roll never dies. And if you find me reading, it'll probably be fantasy or science fiction. My first mentorship experience happened a few years ago. I was mentoring a Technovation Girls Ukraine team. At the time, I didn't know much about mentorship. All I knew is that I was going to keep girls motivated to complete their competition submissions. But after all, I enjoyed it. And now I understand mentorship as being a Jedi, and I actually have a baby Yoda with me speaking. Mentorship is being an example and an advisor in order to create a new Jedi. So this year, I'm also taking part in our university's mentorship program. And I think we'll talk more about it later. So now I want to enclose my monologue and say that I'm really glad to meet all of you. And I'm honored to be invited here.
Thank you. Thank you very much. That's amazing, by the way. All right, let's move to Alex.
Hi, everyone. I'm Alex, and it's great to be here today and meet all of you guys. Really exciting. I've been in the tech industry for about 10 years now, and I've been working as a quant developer at a London-based hedge fund for the last 5 years. It's quite a long time for me, and I had the chance to get involved in mentorship at work quite a lot, mentoring people on very different levels of their career, starting from interns to very senior people who just joined the company and needed some showing around. And in the past few months, I've been part of the Women Who Code mentorship program. I had the chance to mentor an amazing individual, and that was a great experience for me. So yeah, I'm happy to chat about all of this with you today.
Yeah, thank you very much. And I'm very, very happy to know that we have 2 of our mentors from a previous season of Women Who Code mentorship program with us here today. And we'll be happy to talk about it a tiny bit later. So very interesting panel, very diverse experience, super exciting. Should we start with the easy or maybe not so easy question? So why did you become a mentor, and what does mentoring mean to you? Should we start with Alex this time around?
Sure. This question doesn't sound so easy, Mary, but I love it. For me, there are quite a lot of reasons, really. First of all, I think I genuinely enjoy working with people, and being a mentor and a mentee and being able to interact with someone on a close and regular basis is great. Secondly, it's great to see someone grow. And it's so rewarding to realize that you have helped them grow, you have helped them maybe make some decisions or advance their career. I once mentored a person who joined our company as an intern, and he was absolutely amazing. I was so glad to be his mentor. But we actually ended up making him an offer, and he joined the company as a new grad. Then he advanced quite a lot because he was so great, and it was just so awesome to see him grow and to know that I've contributed to this growth. It's very, very rewarding. It's a great feeling. And finally, I find that being a mentor is a great opportunity to learn more about yourself. It's a great learning opportunity and an opportunity for reflection. When you talk to people, when you help them make certain decisions, sometimes you learn quite a lot of new things about yourself too. So yeah, I think that's it for me.
Right. Yeah. Amazing. Someone wants to add.
Yeah, so I think I would echo everything that Alex said, right? Like super rewarding. You learn a lot from being both a mentor and a mentee. I will add two things. I'll say, I've been mentored ever since I really joined the industry in my kind of professional career. And so in a way, I kind of want to pay it forward, right? That's important to me because, I've been mentored, I've gotten a lot out of it. So then I also want to help others, right? And also do mentoring myself. And I'll say the other thing is, which is, I guess, more personal to me, is there are certain courses that I'm very passionate about. For example, I mentor a number of students through, say, social mobility organizations, right? And it's because that's something that I'm really passionate about. I want to help people. And so mentoring is one way of doing that. And again, goes back to it being very rewarding, right? And, for me. So, yeah.
Yeah, that makes perfect sense. I definitely feel that's very rewarding every time I mentor. Anyone wants to add?
I'll just add one thing, one really great thing, especially doing the Women Who Code mentoring, was to see the different points of view and diversity, and actually hear of issues that maybe I create. I'm the white male on the panel, and sometimes, like I represent the anti-pattern of diversity. And so to actually have somebody be able to feel safe enough to say things direct about what happened in meetings, what didn't happen in meetings, what they wanted to happen in meetings, is a great learning experience for me, to make sure that during my meetings in my firm that I don't do the wrong things and kind of exacerbate issues. So, I learned a huge amount from my mentee over things like that. And, I love working in a diverse environment. So having that kind of input from a mentee, whilst they felt it was very accidental that they were saying these things, I thought it was great for me.
Yeah, that's brilliant, and I'm very glad you brought it up. I'm very happy that we have a quite diverse panel today. That's why we're going to get the most expertise and the most interesting opinions on subjects. So yeah, very glad. Daria, maybe do you want to add anything?
Well, I agree with all the speakers who already said, who already shared their view. I especially highlighted Alexandra's saying that mentorship is an opportunity to reflect, and I didn't think about it before, but it is true. It is 100% true. And as to me, why did I choose to be a mentor? Well, I really like sharing experience and knowledge, and I tried to use my Instagram page for that, but my audience consists of my relatives or ex-classmates mostly, and we share kind of different values. So I didn't get much feedback there. And while mentoring, you have like some real people who share these values, and you feel yourself needed and useful.
Right, yeah. Yeah, so I think overall as a mentor, it seems like it's very rewarding to be a mentor from different perspectives, and with different mentees, I suppose it would be also different. I guess my next question would be, yeah, so it would be connected to what I'm getting asked over and over. Like, people are not really sure what they can get from mentorship as a mentee, let's say, or yeah. So if you could share some opinions on what can you get from a mentorship, and what are the key benefits for you as a mentee entering a mentorship? Yeah, if someone wants to, yeah, Vanessa.
Let me start. Yeah, I'll start. So I would say, like, I've gotten different things out of mentorship throughout like different times in my career. Like, and I would say, like, when I first started, a lot of my kind of mentoring conversations were focused around, okay, well, how do I grow in this area of expertise, whether it be a technical particular technology, or how do I think about like careers, building a network, growing my career at the firm. And then I think over time that's kind of shifted, as I've become a mentor myself, right? And I started sharing my own experience. What I'm looking for from a mentorship has actually changed, right? So now when I look for a mentor, and perhaps this is interesting, I actually look for people who I know think completely differently to me, right? Like more recently, I actually asked someone to be my mentor, and this person actually challenged me like a number of times on the program that I'm currently running. And actually I was like, hang on a minute, like this is pretty refreshing. Like, what he's saying is, okay, challenges my assumptions about things. It also brings a different perspective. And perhaps I have my own biases, right? Because of my own experiences and what I've come across. And so I think as I become more senior, the focus on mentoring is really like, I'm looking for people who can kind of bring me a different perspective to my own knowledge and help me learn as well. So yeah, I've gained different things and different insights throughout my career from mentorship.
That's very interesting approach of getting people with different point of view to mentor.
Yeah,
amazing. Yeah, any other opinions?
For me, I think a lot of it is about how to build a relationship, because mentor-mentee relationship has to be very, very trusting, I think, because you want to, whenever I'm mentoring, I see a mentee, they want to ask a difficult question that they're either embarrassed about or something that happened. And so that ability to try and build a relationship with another individual, and whether it's somebody you work with or like this program where it's somebody you don't work with, for me is a real big challenge of building those relationships enough so they feel comfortable asking that question and asking for advice on something. And, I often find my mentor relationship ends up going completely outside of work. So it's not about just how do I get that team lead role? How do I do this technically? It often extends into how to make difficult decisions, and whether that be inside or outside of work. And for me, ended up, if I get to that stage with somebody I'm mentoring, I kind of feel I've probably won. It's like the jackpot for me, because I know they kind of trust to ask at least. Whether I give good advice or not, I can't say, but at least they feel able to ask.
Right, yeah, that's very interesting. And the trust in the mentoring relationship, yeah, that's a very important point. That's something that you can get as a mentee, which is, yeah, amazing. Yeah, anyone else wants to add? Yeah, Daria?
Well, thank you for the question and for letting me speak. Yeah, I absolutely agree on the being able to ask question statement by Andrew, because, well, as I was going to say, being a mentee is a time and mistake savior, because, well, you always have someone you can rely on, and even if your mentor doesn't know an answer to something, well, he can support you anyway. And probably give you another point of view with his experience or her experience, and that is also a great help.
Yeah, that's a very good point. Definitely agree.
I
Alex,
maybe add, yes, that I think that it's more of a plus of the Women Who Code mentorship program in particular. But I find such programs that take place outside of your routine workspace very, very beneficial, because you get to know, you get to step outside your bubble a little bit and meet someone new, and new people could bring some new perspectives to the questions that you have or the issues that you're trying to solve. So yeah, it's always helpful to have someone else have a look and talk about your situation with some fresh mind, you know, without having some set biases or set ideas about how things work. So yeah, I would definitely root for mentorship programs that take place outside of your work, like normal working environment.
That's super interesting. Actually, that's something that I was asked at my work when discussing mentorship, and I want to pass this question to you. So I was asked how to mentor someone that you haven't met yet. How do you build this relationship with them? Because mentoring through work is something more common, I would say. It's easier to find. And it's most cases someone you meet on a daily basis or maybe weekly or monthly basis, so you know them. And through mentorship program, it can be quite difficult. So do you have any tips on how to build this relationship with someone? I see, Vanessa, you have already something in mind.
Yeah, so I think setting expectations is really important, right? I think as typically I would ask the mentees like what they're looking to get out of the mentoring relationship for starters, especially if it's someone that I don't actually know and I'm meeting for the first time. But also I think as a mentor then, it's important to just listen, right? Like this is not about me, right? I'm not here to, you know, at least not at the start, right? To kind of just tell them everything that I want them to know about myself or anything like that. I'm there to listen, right? To understand, okay, what they want to get out of the relationship, what are the key things that are on their mind. And then as the mentor, then I can start shaping that conversation, right? You know, what is the type of advice that I think would be valuable to the mentee? And I think only then, you know, if they find your advice useful, then you establish that trust and that respect, right? And you build that relationship. So typically that's how I would approach it. But you know, I do expect the mentee to kind of come, I guess, to the table with some goals, right? Things that they're looking for advice on to start.
Right. Yeah, that makes perfect sense. Any more tips? All right. Yeah, Andrew.
I guess one other tip that I found was let it evolve as well. That a couple of my mentor-mentee relationships, like there was like almost a definite path, and you could have project managed it and mapped it out. And one or two, like after a couple of sessions, was like, no, I want to do something entirely different. And that's actually one of the bits that I found so rewarding, is the ability to change and switch pace and switch topics that gives that like evolving nature of that relationship. So whilst have some targets, definitely, and you've got a starting point. If you decide, you know, as a mentee, you want to go off topic and talk about something entirely different, as far as I'm concerned, this is great. But because it's whatever you want. And also, for me, having mentored, a lot of mentees seem to get really worried that their mentor is bored or it isn't a topic they want to talk about, that's never going to be the case. That as a mentor, it's like whatever comes along is always, it's usually something different, nuanced, and interesting. You know, it always is for me. So, you know, talk about whatever you want to talk about, and, you know, get what you want out of it. Because as a mentor, I just by byproduct, I get so much out of it.
Nice. Yeah, very interesting perspective. I saw Alex, you unmuted for a moment. Yeah, do you want to add?
Yeah, I wanted to add a very small thing which might sound trivial, but it is I think it is a very key and important thing, and that is basically in order to evolve this relationship, you need to put in the time. For example, set a specific time slot for your sessions, which is regular, maybe weekly or bi-weekly or whatever frequency you agreed upon. Make sure that you're available on that time. Make sure that you commit to it. because at work, it is, from the organizational perspective, it is easier to mentor because it's your job responsibility. You have to do it. You have the environment, you have the time to do it. It is different when you do it on a voluntary basis. So you really need to commit and to have some kind of an agreement, some kind of a contract for yes, what you want to achieve out of these sessions and how you're going to work towards it. So it is very important to be organized. However trivial that might sound, but
it makes perfect sense and not at all trivial. It's definitely something challenging, as planning always is. Anything to add on this? I have a follow-up question, which is quite connected to this. This is also something that people who are new to mentoring are struggling. So how does a typical mentoring session look like? How do you start? How do you end? Like, do you have a list of things you want to go through, or yeah, how does it look like?
Yeah, let me jump in. I mean, there's really like no formal structure, and I've seen some mentees always come super prepared with a list of things that are on their mind that they want to discuss, and then we can kind of go through that in the session. But often I find, and I think this goes back to what Andrew was saying, right, about really people should feel free to bring up anything that's on their mind. And typically, as you get to know the mentor, the mentee, and you've established that trust and that respect, I think this is typically when the sessions become a lot more informal, right? You can kind of go off piste a little bit, and people bring up whatever is on their mind at the time. So I don't think there is really like a set formula, right? There's no better way, one way or another. But it really comes down to, like, you know, where you are in terms of how you've established a relationship, and or, you know, how people want to, like, I typically leave it down to the mentee. Like, as the mentor, I don't necessarily think I should be dictating. So if someone wants to come with a list of things they want to cover, that's perfectly fine.
Right. Yeah. Makes sense.
Yeah, I would second what Vanessa just said, and I actually wanted to say that it depends very much on the type of mentorship that we're doing, and it depends very much on the person, because different people prefer different mentorship styles. And yeah, it's one of the challenges to find the right approach to what the mentee would prefer. Personally, I like to include some feedback to the mentorship sessions, especially at work. I find it really beneficial, and it should go both ways. And I just personally think that feedback shouldn't really be this big thing which you prepare once a year, and then, you know, you're really nervous about it, and then you have this big performance review or whatever. I think that it should be as routine, as casual as possible. So that's why at work, at least, I try to include very little feedback catch-ups in every weekly session or every bi-weekly session. And the technique that we use is called stop, start, continue. Basically, you just come up with a couple of things that you think that the person is doing great and they should continue doing. Then the things that they might find it beneficial to start doing. And if something harms them in progressing, then a couple of things that they should stop doing. And the same goes for myself as well. I try to ask for feedback in this style too. And it doesn't work for everyone. Some people are very uneasy with giving or receiving feedback, but I think that the majority of people who I mentored appreciated this little trick, and it also helped. It helped the mentorship to be more rewarding and beneficial in the long run, because you can correct the course.
Right. Yeah, that's a very good tip, actually. That's something that I wrote down. Yeah, anyone wants to add something, how your typical session looks like? Yeah, okay. All right. I have a very pressing question, next one coming up. And I already picked into the chat and people are asking about this already. Imposter syndrome among mentors. That's something that I personally struggle as well. For me, it was really hard to define, okay, am I ready to start mentoring? Am I good enough? Am I experienced enough? So yeah, my question is, goes like this. When do you think is a good time to start mentoring? And how do you know that you're ready to start to be a mentor?
Okay, I can jump in this one. I think almost anybody can be a mentor, and even like whether you call it career, age, or anything, it's like people have this ability, and most of it is relationship. So I think it's not a case of how much experience you have. At times, you know, being the old man in the room, people pull on that experience, and that's fine. I'm happy to kind of give that. But I find my mentees have like experience to give me. So I think it works both ways. And I think most people probably are ready. I would say the thing is most important is, can you commit the time? So that's the question you probably need to ask. Not really, can I? Because yes, I think you can. I think if you don't want to, you don't feel you're ready, don't jump too early. And if you do it and find it doesn't work, then that's also fine. But yeah, I think most of it is actually a time commitment rather than necessarily, or I'm old enough, or I've worked long enough, or anything like that.
Right, that's a very fair point.
Yeah, it's really like, you can be a mentor in pretty much any area where you feel like you've got advice or experience to share. Right. It's just, you know, the nature of the mentoring might just be different depending on the stage you're in your life and your career. I mean, even when I was in university, I would kind of talk to students, right, and then give them advice on, okay, applications to university, and mentor them in a different way. Obviously, at that stage, I would not be giving them, say, you know, management type advice, right? So I think there's so many different forms of mentorship. Like, there really isn't a particular time of saying, oh, you can only start if you're at a certain stage in your career, or only when you've, you know, a certain level of experience, right? I think you just have to think about, okay, well, where can I offer the help? Where can I offer that advice? And then go for it. And the more you do it, the more you gain as well, right? You get to meet a lot of people and you learn a lot. So yeah, get started is the advice.
That's amazing. Really want to hear from Daria if you would like to share your opinion on this.
Well, I was thinking about jumping into the discussion a few questions before, but this is my at the moment experience, and I have a lot of impressions right now, so please stop me if I'm going to talk for too long. So I'm taking part in a mentorship program in the university this year. It's when older students mentor first-year students, 2 mentors for 1 study group. Study group is about 30 people. And I jumped into this program at the last moment because I just felt that it was just the right time. The previous year I was struggling with all that lockdown, and it was kind of pressure for me because I like communicating and so on, and I needed to adapt to a new way of living. And I wasn't really ready to share something with people because I needed to find this resource for myself. And this year we have mixed system of education. So I felt like, wow, I'm ready to speak and communicate. I'm ready to share. And that's why I just decided to do that. And I also like what I do at university. And I wanted to share this appreciation of our university program, of our university in general, of student life. I wanted to pass it to new generations. Yeah, so I will probably stop there and add something later.
Yeah, that's a very, I mean, it's a really good comment. That's a very good example of what I'm trying to say, that you always have something to give other people. So I think that's the gist of what's being said. I do have a opposite question to what I just asked, which is, right, so we established that everybody can give something as a mentor, but is there a time when you cannot be mentored anymore? Like, is there a time when it's not okay to, let's say, look for a mentor? Do you think that happens?
When you cannot commit the time. I think that's
Okay.
really the only condition I've come across. Like, I mean, you know, it is a big time commitment. I think this has come up with, you know, other panelists have called it out, right? So unless you're sure, right, that you can put in the time and the effort, you know, really think about what you want to get out of the relationship, keep it up, and build the relationship, then it's often better not to engage at that point in time, right? But aside from that, like I have not come across any other scenarios where it would not be appropriate.
Right, yeah. Anyone wants to add something?
I think that regardless of your level of experience, you should seek growth and you should seek mentorship. And this kind of ties to the previous question of dealing with imposter syndrome. I think it's wrong to think about mentorship as something that's only available for very senior or experienced people. In fact, you can mentor someone in one area and they can mentor you back in something else. If you think about it this way, that you're just sharing useful information, you're just sharing knowledge, it's really irrelevant to your age or experience or seniority in the industry. This helps with imposter syndrome as well, because it removes, I would say that it removes certain pressure, it removes certain absolutely unnecessary expectations, and it helps you connect with the person rather than imposing your authority on the person. And yeah, same goes the other way around. Regardless of how senior you are, you can always look for mentors and it will always bring you benefit.
Right, I absolutely agree.
Yeah.
Yeah.
May I please just agree too? Absolutely agree. Because, well, I also have this imposter syndrome. It is really high in my case. But well, what am I mentoring? I'm mentoring, like, do you need to know something about how to learn programming? Okay, I'll tell you something that I know in programming. Do you need to know something in math? Okay, I'll tell you about how did I learn math or how did I pass those exams in math on my first year of study. So I'm just sharing what I know right now. Although I'm not a professional in some specific field right now, I just found something that I'm passionate about, although it is really, really wide area of things that I'm passionate about. But I just felt that it would be nice to share that. And that's absolutely what Alexandra said.
Yeah, and I'm sure that your mentees are appreciating this. It's probably a vital knowledge, how to pass some exam. It's a very, very important.
By the way, going back to the imposter syndrome thing, you can definitely make that a focus of your mentoring as well, right? Because many of my mentors have helped me with this, right? Act as a sounding board just to reinforce, yes, you do know what you're talking about, and help you with kind of your confidence as well and self-awareness. So you know, actually, you can actually bring this up as a mentoring topic in itself. And I would encourage people to do that.
That's a great point. I want to make a note that we have a couple more questions to discuss, but if everybody's listening, if you have questions, that's the right time to start putting them into the chat. So when we get to the Q&A, we already have the questions ready. All right. So yeah, my next question would be, I guess, echoing a tiny bit what Andrew said in the beginning, which is the diversity, but also imposter syndrome. So in my experience, and not just in my experience, but also it's a known thing that imposter syndrome is harder on women. And that's, I guess, one of the reasons why we have in the mentorship program at Women Who Code and why we haven't Women Who Code. But yeah, I would like to know what's your take on that, why it's important to have mentorship programs specifically for women.
Okay, if I speak as the middle-aged white male. I think the big issue, like if you go back in history of coding, you know, at the very start, it was completely women dominated, which was probably a great thing. And I suspect a lot of the stuff we're building upon now is only there because of the women that were there way back. And then for lots of reasons, it ended up a male-dominated industry, which is completely wrong. It's not the right way of doing it at all. And there is nothing that a man does that makes them any better at this than anybody else. There isn't that gender thing. It just doesn't exist. So I think for me, helping anybody, male or female, but especially female, get over the "can I do this" is really important. And my experience of all the women I've worked with, there is so much I've learned from them, both technically, on a personal basis, and the places that I've enjoyed working the most have a better diversity than places that struggled with that. So I think, you know, it's not just from a technical point of view, it's actually enjoying the job you do. So whatever I can do, both, you know, on a one-on-one basis or one on a few basis to help get over that is great. But there isn't a you can't do it. You know, there's things I can't do. I can't run faster than my daughter. I keep trying, but I still don't do it. But other than that, you know, there's lots of things that everybody can do, and you know, genders should not be a discussion point of it.
I'd echo that. I mean, obviously, mentoring it's for any gender, right? This is not necessarily just a women thing. I mean, I mentor both, you know, male and female professionals, and also like students, and I also get mentored. I've both you know, male and female mentors myself, right? So I think it's the flexibility that's important, right? And again, like people seek out different things, and having that option, I think, is really key. I will share that, you know, for example, in the Women in Engineering Network at our workplace, we do group mentoring, right? And predominantly we have female mentors. And that's because some people just seek out, right? They want to discuss in an open, safe forum, you know, certain things with other female professionals. And I think that is a type of flexibility that we want to offer. There are, of course, people going out and reaching out to other male colleagues, right, and setting up kind of mentoring sessions with male colleagues, and that's okay, of course, right? So I don't want to kind of constrain it in any sort of way, and I think having that flexibility is actually really important, because going back to, you know, what people look for, people really look for different things. They want to learn different things. They want to gain different types of perspectives. So I don't want to pigeonhole mentoring in kind of any form. And I think offering people that flexibility is important.
Yeah, I just want to add something, perhaps maybe a little bit controversial, although I do agree with everything that Vanessa and Andrew said before. But I just wanted to emphasize the importance for the Women Who Code mentorship program, which is mostly targeted at women. Well, for me personally, as a female professional in the tech field, it's great to see other women who can be role models for me.
Yes,
who I can look up to, and who I can ask for advice, maybe. And in my career, unfortunately, I haven't had a lot of opportunities to connect with female mentors, although I would have loved to do it, but it's just, unfortunately, there weren't too many women in tech around me when I was starting my career. And I would really like to help the situation for the people who are just starting their career in tech right now, and just to contribute to making this a little bit better for them by offering advice as a professional who identifies as female in the tech field.
Yeah, I do echo that. And actually, in the context of our network, we send out a survey to our members, right? And the role model aspects always comes through every single year. That's the feedback. They want to be connected to female role models in the organization. That's why we continue to run the group mentoring sessions. But we also pair people up, if they would like a male mentor, that's fine too.
May I please just add, tell about the chain of events in my life about female mentorship. So if it wasn't for Helen, who is a co-organizer today, I wouldn't know about the Technovation Girls program. And if it wasn't for my mom, who helped me throughout the way, I wouldn't complete it. And if I didn't do that, I wouldn't try a mentorship program there. And without that, I wouldn't apply to university and study applied system analysis, because before that, I had wanted to be a journalist. And now I am a future system analysis analyst. And well, if I didn't apply to university, then I wouldn't take part in the mentorship program here. So it's really important. Female mentorship is cool.
I want to echo everything that's been said. Not going to do that because it's been said already, but yeah, we find at Women Who Code, we find it really important for role modeling, for networking, but it's also, if I can just sort of promote for a second, it's really interesting and it's really great to have the network, to have to see that other people are interested in things you find passionate, you're being passionate and no, it's a great place to be. Join our Slack and all that. I have a couple of more questions, really quite close to the end of the panel discussion. So one would be quite practical. So we talked about how to mentor, what a sessions looks like, but I imagine it's not always going right. Sometimes it just doesn't work, right? So my question would be, how do you know that the match between the mentor and the mentee is just not working? And what do you do?
I think it's quite natural, right? I think, if it's not working, sometimes the conversations just kind of dries up, right? You find that perhaps there's not as much in common that, you share and or, sometimes it just doesn't click. And I think people kind of feel that. And then sometimes the engagements kind of fizzles out, or more proactively, I mean, we always call this kind of almost like a no-fault divorce, right? If it doesn't work, it just doesn't work, right? And then I think, typically we'll help try and pair the mentee up with another mentor, right? Figure out what wasn't working, what they're really looking for, and then pair them, with someone else. And I think that's absolutely fine. I think, sometimes it just doesn't work. Like, people don't take that personally, and it's absolutely fine.
Definitely not taking it personally. That's a very, very good tip.
Yeah.
Any more opinions on this?
I think. Sorry, Alex.
Oh, yeah, that's all right. No, I just wanted to agree. And yeah, just wanted to say that sometimes it happens. I had it happen a couple of times in the past. Sometimes you just don't click. It could be useful asking for feedback. I actually once got very useful feedback from someone who I mentored who was not enjoying my mentorship style, but it was very useful because I got to hear him out and change something in the way I behave. So I view it as a positive experience for me. Sometimes, yes, just the conversation is just not there, but it's okay, it can happen. You can't be expected to get on with absolutely everyone who you meet. It is natural. So yes, I guess what Vanessa said.
The kind of one thing that I just want to add is like, don't, if you're a mentee and it's not working, don't get that imposter syndrome of, oh, I'm no good at this, as like building that relationship. You can't, as Alexandra said, you can't be friends with everybody, or you can't have really good relationships with everybody. It just doesn't, life doesn't work like that. And, call it out and sort of say, look, this, I just can't do this, it's not working. And certainly as a mentor, I don't take it personally. You know, I am me. I try and get on as best I can with people, but sometimes, because that relationship has to be relatively personal and quite close, it's not always going to work. And so if it doesn't, it doesn't. And yeah, I would encourage, you know, both sides to figure out why a little bit, but also move on and, you know, find a good mentor-mentee relationship that is going to work for both sides, because that's really, really important.
Yeah, that's a very good comment. And that's also something that we do at Mentorship Program. Just 5 seconds of promotion again. Yeah, that happens. Sometimes it just doesn't work and we try to find another mentor. It's a very sensible solution. Yeah, any more on this? Okay, so I have a opposite question. This is something that I've been asked before. This is a question from all perfectionists out there that are wondering, am I a good enough mentor? Like, how do I know that I'm doing a good job as a mentor? Like, are there any tips for them? What would you consider a good mentoring?
So 2 things, I think, and it's come up in the discussion already, like ask for feedback. Right. I mean, as a mentor, you can just ask, like, do you find this useful? And then the other way, and I think this kind of strolls more into kind of almost like coaching realm, right? Is if you've shared some knowledge or like perhaps piece of advice, just see if the mentee can echo it back to you, right? Like, just have they really understood like the message? And that's one way of reinforcing whether, you know, you've expressed it clearly enough, or, you know, whether they find it useful as well. So, you know, there are a number of different ways, but I say the most direct way is just ask, right? Like, just ask for feedback.
That's a great idea. Definitely a great idea in every situation. Right, yeah. Any more ideas?
I usually take it in terms of enthusiasm. So if my mentee is, you know, it's been Zoom a lot recently, but if they're on the call straight away, if they're asking lots of questions, then that's just the default, but everything's fine. But that's certainly a good indicator that they're engaged with the process and kind of want things. And it's really, you know, the reverse thing of when does it go wrong? Like Vanessa said, the conversations dry up. Like it's you kind of realize it's not working and it's not going right. So I think that's, you know, like you can get like the informal feedback of, yes, they're really engaged in the process. But yeah, definitely, like, is there something you want me to do different? Actually ask, because if you ask the positive question and people are reluctant, they'll just agree. But I try and ask the reverse question of, what do you want me to do differently? Because then that really encourages that bit of feedback of, well, you talk too much. Okay, sorry, I'll sit and listen.
Yeah, that's a great point. Any more on this?
I really like the tip about the reverse questions. Thank you. As to me, I agree with Vanessa, with Andrew, with Alex. But I just wanted to add that I usually ask for people's personal preferences. Like most of them or some of them don't like when other people touch them. And I really like to hug people. So I just tell them, please don't hug me unless you want to. So something like that. We want to grow this trust in our relationship. So we need to know one's preferences in such small things like touches.
Yeah, that's a great point as well. It's, I guess, also to Vanessa's point, which is like asking questions, right? Like having an actual conversation. I think that's really great. All right, so we are almost finishing up, and then this is I guess could be an interesting question as well. So almost all of you or all of you were mentored at some point. You were mentees, and maybe you could share some success stories from your mentorship experience as a mentee, of course. Yeah, maybe some interesting results of those sessions.
So I mentioned a person who I mentored when he was an intern with our company, and then he was hired, and then he continued doing very well, and he's been with the company for a few years now. That is incredibly rewarding to see. I think that's probably the I consider it part of my success too. Because I helped him when he was during his internship. Not just I helped him do his tasks or whatever. He was great, but I also helped sell the company in a way to him. So yeah, that was great to see, and it's great to see when an intern who you mentor is hired, or the person who you mentor is promoted, or is otherwise successful, achieves their goals. Yeah, I mean, it sounds simple, but for me, that's one of the key reasons why I'm doing this.
Yeah, thank you. Yeah, if you want to share success stories where you were a mentor, as well as if you were a mentee, please do so. Very interesting to hear those.
Yeah, so I think Alex shared, as a mentor, right, seeing mentee success is super rewarding, always the case. So yeah. I guess I will share one from another perspective where I found some mentoring experience super useful. I had a mentor that used to set me homework. Perhaps not, you probably don't expect that, but at the time I was looking for a technical mentor, right? Deep dive into certain kind of technologies. And I remember my mentor set me homework. He was like, okay, well, if you really want to learn this, then you're going to have to put in the time, right? So go away, read up on this thing. Next time you come back, we're going to have a debate. We're going to discuss the architecture, right? We're going to discuss pros and cons about this thing that we have in the firm, this platform. I found that super useful, right? I learned so much just from being engaged and having this dialogue and a discussion. So, that's one experience as a mentee. Like, I didn't expect my mentor to give me homework, but he did, and I found it super useful. And it was actually one of the best mentoring relationships that I've built in the workplace. So there you go. That's one example.
That's amazing. That's amazing.
I just remembered my mentee story. I had a really, really wonderful math tutor when I was at 10th and 11th grade at school, and I needed to pass my out-of-school exams. And he wasn't just teaching me math. He wasn't. He didn't even get prepared for the lessons, and we didn't have a schedule of the lessons. He just said, "Okay, you go home, you study, you prepare yourself, and if you have questions, you write them down, you go to me, and we discuss them." And this encouraged me to work. I didn't just think that he'll do all the work for me. I worked, and if I had questions, he helped me with them. And he also helped me a lot, not just in math. He really liked to say that math is like a stray dog. If you are afraid of it, then it'll bite you and bark on you. But if you are confident in yourself and something like that, then this dog will listen to you and do exactly what you want it to do. And it applies to many, many fields in my life. So that's probably my mentee success story. And if you don't mind, I would like to share something else. If everyone is okay.
Yeah, we have a couple of minutes, so go for it.
Okay, thank you. We had this mentorship program at university for a few years. So when I was a first grade student, I also had these two older students. And now when I am this mentor, I realized that these mentors have a really great impact on whether the group, the study group will be friendly, or whether they will have this strong connection within the group. Because, well, my mentors personally, they didn't they didn't give much time to this, and that's why I think it was one of the first reasons why the group didn't work out as a group. And that was one of the reasons why I wanted to be a mentor. So I wanted to help those people to live the best of the years of their life in a friendly environment. So we dedicated lots of our time, me and my partner, to organize a Discord meeting, to help them talk about themselves, even the shyest ones. We gathered the meeting offline. We helped them to prepare for their school competitions. Like we were really dedicated, and that's and this group is really. They have this bond inside the group, and that's where I realized that mentorship is really important. You really help the group to get in touch.
Yeah, thank you. That's quite interesting, and it's amazing you have these things in your university. It's really great. Yeah. Anything else? Any success stories?
I think one thing for me being mentored was just somebody teaching me the ability to kind of self-reflect, both on like what my impact is on, especially working in a team and how that works or doesn't work, but also like self-reflect in terms of taking feedback, because it's hard, you know, like especially non-positive feedback. We all want positive feedback, but we have to have things said to us where things we need to change and improve and potentially just stop doing, and actually getting how to do that as an individual for me personally was really hard. You know, my instant reaction is to justify why I was doing what I was doing, and exactly the wrong thing to do. I need to listen, understand, and then actually reflect and see what I can change. So I think that for me, that's one of the most important things I've ever got out of being mentored is how to take feedback and how to reflect, because once you can build that into yourself, I think like meetings with, whether it's a one-on-one or one-on-lots, become much easier, and both in terms of stress and actually how to handle it and have a positive outcome.
Yeah, that's really good. I think that's something that I personally was working with my mentor a lot, taking feedback and yeah, not taking things personally. I guess that's very important. All right, so we are completely out of time, and yeah, thank you very much. It was amazing. It was very interesting. So we're going to move to the Q&A, and I just remind everybody that please write your questions in the chat. We will be happy to read them and ask our experts. And I guess I'm going to give you guys, if you would like to have any last tips, maybe thoughts, share something before the Q&A, please do that. And if not, that's completely fine too. I'm just going to try to find the questions now, because I think I saw one or two. All right, so I'm starting from the bottom for some reason, and there's a question from Clara. Have you ever mentored those wishing to have a career change and have a degree in something unrelated? Very important, very common in our previous season of mentorship program. So yeah, someone wants to talk about that.
That exactly happened to me. Somebody who was looking for a mentor in technology and then couldn't decide whether they actually wanted to do something entirely different. And I think for me, it's like the really hard thing of not trying to force a decision on somebody else, even when, you know, I'm I'm a father to adult children, so I've kind of gone through the how do you guide versus just tell. My wife's much better at it than me, surprise, surprise. But to try and get to that point of how to come to a decision and how to view your decision, whether you want to make a massive life change, because often it is, versus take the path you're on. And yeah, I think that's it. For me, it's trying to get somebody to take that journey before the decision has to be made, so they can actually come to it not rushed, like last minute, right? I need to decide today because reasons, either a course starts or something like that. So it's really trying to take people on that journey of what do you think it will look like in a month's time, in 6 months' time, and is that going to make you happier? Will you feel more successful? Are you going to get out what you think you're going to get out? So it's a very trusting thing for somebody to come to a mentor and ask those kind of things, but I found it extremely rewarding.
Yeah, thank you very much, and thank you, Claire, for the question. It's very, very relevant, and again, that's something that a lot of people are looking for, a mentor to shift career or shift specialization, and that's something that is totally the right place to look for a mentor. So yeah, amazing. So I found another question about the imposter syndrome while mentoring, but I think we covered that. Hopefully, please write in the chat if that wasn't satisfying. Hopefully it was. There's another question, which is how to start your path as a mentee and what are the stages in this journey. And I'm a bit interpreting the question, but if Anastasia, if you want to explain a bit more, you can. But I guess that's quite clear as well. Like how do you know to start mentorship? How do you know to end? Yeah, if someone wants to talk about that.
You mean from a mentee's perspective? Typically,
I suppose so. Yeah.
Yeah. So I'm typically, because I go and look for a mentor because there's something that I want to learn, right? Again, it might be a technical thing. It might be, someone I look for who I look up to, like as a role model. Maybe they're particularly good at certain aspects, right, of career management, or be managing conflicts, or perhaps I don't feel like they have imposter syndrome, or I want to discuss that with them. So I typically go and seek out mentors because there are certain things that I want to learn, I want to get better at. And then I think depending on the nature of the relationship and the thing that you kind of set out to achieve, typically there are some goals, right? Like, have you met what you set out to learn, or you looked out to do, or have you met the goals? But then a lot of the times, like, once you build up that trust and the respect, actually you carry on maintaining that relationship anyway, even if it's in a much more kind of informal type basis. So, some of my mentorship experience have been quite well bounded, but I would say more often than not, like, they become kind of like almost like your trusted advisors, just people that I would just go and lean on over time. And yeah, that also works. So.
That makes sense. Yeah, thank you very much. And thank you for the question. There are two more, but we have only 2 minutes.
Yeah, if we have time. Yeah.
We have like exactly 2 minutes until we should be ending, but I hope that we have a couple more. So yeah, if you want to add something, please.
Yeah, okay, about mentee path. Well, I think that you should try to look for a mentor, not even when you want to learn something new, but when you want, but don't really know where to find it, where to look for the answers. And then you need to look for a person who might know. And that's the mentor.
Yeah, that's a good point. That's a good point. Just one last question we will take, and we're wrapping things up. Sorry, we're going to probably be late 1 or 2 minutes. So someone asked that, there are more questions, but unfortunately no time. Do you usually run mentoring sessions online or in person? If it's up to a mentor and mentee, to choose, do you have any tips that work better if anyone wants to take that?
I think that depends on the person a lot. Again, different people have different preferences. For me personally, I prefer talking to people face to face. Obviously, recently with the pandemic, most of my work has moved to Zoom meetings and working from home. So all the mentorship is remote as well. But before the pandemic, I preferred meeting up and just seeing each other. I just find that the conversation for me personally is more direct, more honest. You can connect with the person better when you see them in front of yourself. But again, it might work differently for other people, and it's always good to just have a chat with the person you're mentoring or the person who mentors you. What's their preference, and then just go from there.
Yeah, that makes sense. I think the communication is key. It's not surprising, but it's one of the key takeaways for me, at least, in this discussion. So we have a couple more questions, but I will have to ask you guys to write them in the chat, in the Slack. We have a Slack and we have a Slack channel about mentorship, and we'll be happy to take in questions there. And we will be... Hey. Sorry, I hear someone, but I will be wrapping up. And I want to say big thank you to our panelists. It's been a pleasure. It's been a great discussion, absolutely amazing answers. And thank you to Women Who Code for hosting. Yeah, thank you very much. Helen, I guess my imaginary microphone is going to you.
Okay, let's begin with it's my microphone. I passed it to Irina, then Irina passed it to you. So I'm getting my microphone back. So thank you everyone for joining us today. It's been an amazing conversation. I was looking forward to it so much, and I was not mistaken. I enjoyed it tremendously. Thank you all. Stay tuned. I'm going to follow up with an email as usual via Meetup and on social media. And please join our Slack. We are fun. Have a lovely evening, everyone.
Thank you.
Thank you very much.
Bye, everyone.